Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined by Ranty Flat Earth, Physics Warrior, Paul, Mind Warped, Elijah, Chocolate Saying, Arwin, and we've also got a whole bunch of people in Discord, so I'll see if I can introduce some of them. We've also got Cockell, Dawn, Ebro, these are tiny little words, Human Sheeple, King Daddy, Ping something or other, Right the Hand, and Shrinks. Very good to have you all.
Good afternoon.
Good to be here.
Good morning.
Good day, mate.
How are we all?
Very well. Didn't manage to get through all of housekeeping last time, so I'm hoping we can actually rattle our way through it this time. We'll see how we get on. Any signs of Earth curvature?
Nope.
Not that I can see.
Any signs of axial rotation?
No.
Nope. We need an axis first.
Don't feel it.
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Haven't smelt it.
Presupposition.
Of what?
Tasted it?
It's in the balls. It's in the balls.
Yeah, there's evidence for all of those things. Everything in your list.
Please, Dawn, enlighten us.
Well,
That's
axial
deprivation.
rotation, the whole sky turns, and that suggests an axis through the middle of Earth.
Yes.
So that's evidence for that. Evidence
Oh,
for gravity.
that's the
is
sky, right?
falling,
Access through Middle Earth.
equilibrium of
Hold on,
relative
hold on,
density.
hold on,
Relative
Dawn, one thing at a
gravity.
time. Stop.
Scientific
Stop.
What was the other
Stop.
one? Curvature. Yeah, there's lots of evidence
Just
for
one
curvature.
thing at a
Sound
time.
lead,
One thing at a
sun
time.
setting.
Wow.
Oh,
All
God, he won't
obstruction.
shut up. Dawn, one thing at a time. You said that the star rotation suggests axial rotation. Please enlighten us how you believe that that is the case, and I'll tell you how you're wrong.
Well, you tell me.
You just want me to tell you outright?
Yes.
You want me to just tell you?
So obviously, in the northern and southern hemisphere, the stars spin around 2 points.
Okay.
We call them celestial poles,
Okay, are you done?
right?
No,
So that
not right.
suggests there's an axis.
just, oh, jeez. Are you done?
Am I done?
Yeah. In other words, when I start explaining how that's incorrect, will you continue to talk?
No, I'll let you have it.
Yeah, you do that. Yeah. You use the word hemisphere. That would be you assuming that this example takes place on a sphere, Dawn. So it's not an example of axial rotation. It's a demonstration that you can beg the question and assume you're standing on a sphere. Demonstrated by the word hemisphere.
What would you like me to call it instead of hemisphere?
Let's call it the sky. Now, believe it or
Right,
not,
so the
Dawn.
northern sky
yeah,
and the
Dawn.
southern
I
sky.
asked if you were going to interrupt, and you said no. So let's call it
Good
the
point.
sky.
We'll
Yeah,
get
yeah.
the word
Dawn,
hemisphere.
I'm going to have to shut you up and just put you on permanent mute if you cannot stop interrupting me. So I'll try again for a third time. Let's just call it the sky. For the people in Australia, the sky's above their head. And for me, the sky's above my head. Now, unless we presuppose that they are antipode to us, then we do not have an example that conforms to anything other than you're begging the question by using the word hemisphere. Assuming the spherical Earth already, Dawn.
I have to disagree. I think the
I
movement
don't
in the
care.
sky, north and south, suggests an axis.
Oh,
of
right.
rotation.
You just assumed that Australia is antipode to us. Yes, we know. You beg the question.
No, I
It
don't
doesn't prove
assume
anything.
it, dude.
Yeah.
What everyone says.
Dawn,
And that's
Dawn,
what all observations show. It's not an assumption.
Dawn, we don't want to know an endless diatribe about your fundamentalist belief in a begging the question fallacy. I don't want to hear it.
So yeah, the sky rotating is
Yeah,
evidence
that's
for
all
actual
right.
rotation.
I'll give you one last chance. Right? I do not, I'll say it slower. I don't want an endless diatribe of your fundy belief in a begging the question fallacy. That means, for laymen like yourself, don't repeat the same claim that I've ripped to pieces 4 more times. It's
understand.
not.
This isn't a diatribe.
I'm
It's
saying
just
it
me telling you
slower
the evidence
so
is
that
there.
you can understand it, not interrupt easier. Yeah, I'm saying
Not
it
a
slower.
diatribe,
Not
it's just me
yeah. I
telling you
just
there is
said I'm
evidence of
speaking
actual
slower.
rotation. That's all it is.
I'm speaking slower, not so that you have more opportunity to interrupt me, but so that I can explain it to a retard.
So you can feel clever. That's why you're
No,
speaking slower.
not feel clever.
You can get
Explain to a
dopamine
retard
by
who keeps
feeling
interrupting. This is your last chance, Dawn. Yeah, we heard your claim. I've explained to you that your claim involves presupposition based on the word hemisphere. You've said, I don't agree. Okay, well, that's tough luck. It's still a begging the question fallacy. It still has the presupposition of a spherical Earth. It does not prove
No.
axial rotation. Now, you
It's
don't have
evidence
to
for
like
axial
it.
rotation,
You
whether
don't
you
have to.
believe that or
Right,
not,
that's it.
it
You're not
is.
going to get to interrupt me constantly, you fucking asshole. Get out. Prick.
Discord is crazy.
Yeah, he doesn't get to constantly reaffirm the nonsense claim that we have axial rotation based on him assuming
get it.
we've got...
Hello?
I think the
think you
panel
do.
may be a little overcrowded.
What happened?
Don't worry. He's lost his calm. He's still here.
Tired of getting interrupted.
Is my audio still coming in?
Loud and
I
clear?
can hear you, man.
Azurethi, can you mute your
Seems to be a
mic?
delay.
Because every time you click,
I've been muting it when I'm trying to type. There's a couple of times I forgot to. I'm not doing it the now, so I've got it unmuted. Just waiting for Nathan to get back. I'm presuming he's away somewhere.
That sounds like the stream went down.
Nothing wrong. What are you talking about?
He's on. He's on.
Who said that?
Oh, sorry. I heard nothing but silence. I thought I wasn't getting any sound.
It's perfect. Yeah, everything's perfect.
That's cool.
So about that housekeeping.
Yeah, should we just move on?
My coin
Can I just
option, is there a
suggest
link?
that we end when you're talking, like with either questioning someone directly or some word like over used in radio? Because a lot of the salt in here is just about people being interrupted, which is just wasting time, really.
But they interrupt while he's still talking. So saying over is not going to change that because he's still talking when they talk. So how is saying over going to stop somebody from interrupting while he's still saying his sentence?
A lot of the time they're interrupting when he's pausing to take a breath or pausing after a question, but still planning to keep talking. Like he asked a question and then continued to talk after for clarification. And the person responded instantly as soon as he finished asking the question.
Okay, here, let me ask you. Here's a real honest question. If you were having a conversation, hold on, let me ask you. Let's be honest. Hold on. Let's be honest. If we're having a conversation with a person, do you need them to say over, or do you just be
Yeah,
civil?
he just heard
You wait
half
for
of
the
your
lull?
question and
Come on,
decided to
man.
answer half of
Because
it.
he's saying we need to say over when we're done talking. No, we don't. Just sit and listen. And when it's your turn to speak, speak. You don't need him to say over. You'll know it's over because he would have rounded out his point and he'll stop speaking. That is so much more evidence that he's done talking than saying over. Because maybe he's saying over in the term of his sentence, and you'll hear that word over and be like, well, he's done speaking. Let me chime up. So no, I don't think it's a good idea. I think you should just sit, listen, and when he's done speaking, use reasonable logic to conclude that he's done talking, and then you can speak. We're not going to be saying over like a bunch of military retards.
Again, that was just a suggestion. I did say you could maybe question them
And
directly
shut
to signify
down.
that you're
He's
done.
definitely
10-4.
Sorry.
Breaker. Right. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the
Compared
centre of a
to-
presupposed spherical Earth?
No
Nah.
evidence.
no.
Any evidence of Earth radius, the R value?
Might have to find that curvature first before we can do all that.
Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Aristophanes.
Doesn't exist.
Cool. Can you expand on that?
Parallax.
Hearing single words. Question on the table is any evidence
No.
of the distance to the sun? We've got
No,
That is
Aristophanes.
a negative.
Now people are talking while I clarify after the silence that ensued.
Sorry, I was away from the mic.
It's all right.
We're
So,
waiting for our opportunity to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
Oh, that was just a general statement.
Fair
My
enough.
audio is coming in late, it seems.
So,
You
was
probably
there
just need to
evidence-
adjust your bandwidth, dude.
Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Negative.
Nope.
Somebody said they had evidence. Then it all went quiet.
Really?
Thought I heard
Who said that?
Aristophanes, someone said.
Yeah, I heard it too.
Is it on Discord?
Oh yeah, I said that.
Oh, fair enough. If it was sarcastic, then we'll move on. Any evidence that you can have gas pressure without a container? For all the fundies who believe in
Definitely
space?
not.
No,
Definitely
It's
not.
impossible.
container comes first.
And I love seeing globeheads try to make experiments to prove this. It's just stupid.
Excellent. That concludes the housekeeping. 2 shows it took.
I came in at the end of that last show. Had you still not gotten through housekeeping?
No, we got to gravity, and then the guy claimed that he had Cavendish as an experiment. Clearly, he doesn't watch the show. Clearly,
The power of the
That's so
force.
good.
One of the problems
The
I feel is
power
there
of
even
gravity.
if you wanna like cater to them and they'll say, oh, look up at the sky, that's mass attracting mass. No, it's not. They would all crash together if it was mass attracting mass. It's actually mass being in harmonic balance with mass, which is not mass attracting mass.
I feel like there's
Would you
a
argue
difference
that an orbit doesn't require a center seeking field?
between them making their assertions and them being confused about why their assertions are wrong.
I'm loving this new thing now where gravity is supposedly causing the force now. Like, so this is the problem with their narrative now that's going haywire.
Yeah.
So now gravity is not the force, it causes the force. Right. Because this is like the 3rd time I've heard this nonsense now.
Yeah, and
So
it's so supported by experimentation because that's exactly what all their experiments don't do. So that's just perfect.
yeah.
exactly.
Anthony's challenge of George Musa has resulted in the cat truly being set amongst the pigeons in regards to gravity.
That's what I think. Moment of silence for the globe.
With the pre-show, were we live when I did that presentation? Nathan?
Yeah. Well, we were on the after show. I did say that.
Okay, cool.
We weren't
I
live,
just
but you
wanted to
welcome
make sure it went live so Google's algorithms can pick it up and do their wacky thing.
Well, no, it hasn't then in that case. So no, it hasn't gone to air yet, that particular part.
Okay.
But if you want to do it again, you're welcome to.
You sure?
Yeah.
All good?
Yeah, I don't mind.
All right. Cool. All right. Give me 2 secs. I'll come back to it. I'll get it set up.
While you're getting that together, at 2 p.m. Central Time and 8 p.m. UK time, there'll be a Ballbusters special about the most technologically advanced flat Earth model that the world has ever seen.
Awesome.
So this is not to be underestimated. Share the information far and wide. Be here or be sphere. I mean, this model is basically amazing. It does everything.
Can I ask who made it, or are you not allowed to say? Or
Got a very, very big corporate sponsor.
Really?
Enormous.
That's pretty cool.
Very. Advanced flat Earth predictions. It can do that. Amazing.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yeah, I hear it's amazing. It does the predictions, and accuracy is just beyond belief.
Yeah, it can make full-on
What,
pseudoscience predictions. It's amazing.
Moon
I have a few globe earthers coming in. Oh, it works great.
Really?
Sun and moon?
So you mean
No,
to say like
I'm not coming in late anymore.
this model predicts like all the moon phases, all like time, everything. It works out perfectly, does it?
It's not a celestial
is
model. It's
interesting.
purely an Earth model.
And
But
that's
it still
because-
like works well with everything.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
That is
Hey,
cool.
I've got an app on my watch that keeps up the moon phase. It works perfect too. Wow.
Well, it doesn't have that.
That's
It's purely an Earth model.
right?
Let's not get
work
ahead of
perfectly.
ourselves. It's not an Earth. It's just
Then
Earth.
that brings the question of which one is legit, which is awesome.
Oh, well, it's got an extra. It's got a feature for that. So it has actually got the functionality so that you can compare very easily with like the stroke of a mouse, globe Earth versus flat Earth. So you can get the depictions of the what they claim it should appear like. You can get that like really easily. So it's amazing. The features in this piece of software are just incredible. It cannot be underestimated how good it is.
It's my birthday.
Are we going to be able to put this in the app, like on the phones and iPads?
Sorry?
And...
Say again,
This,
physics. John calling. Hey, John.
It'll
How's
be
it going,
available for
gentlemen?
download, right?
I think there's part of it's paid and there's a free section that you can have for nothing. No profits go to me.
I'll take it.
Purely the big corporate that gets the money if you download the professional version.
So I just got my screen up now.
Brilliant. Let's have a look.
Cool. All right. So, like I was saying before, there's a few weeks ago, it might have even been about a month ago, I did a presentation showing how Google had blatantly cut rottenness out of the horizon, and then once I brought it up on the live stream a couple of days later on Google, it magically had been changed and you could see rottenness. So I went back onto the same road and found another section where on Google Earth or Google Maps, I'll play it now. So bear in mind, this is keeping that house there's the landmark. Sorry, don't mind that dude.
Just a quick question. Sorry to interrupt. You say Google Maps. Is this Google? I thought this was Google Street View. Is it the same
This
thing
is
now?
Street View. This is Street View, yeah.
Fine.
Yep. Okay, so if we look straight out there, you can't see Rottnest. Rottnest should be right there. Easy to see. I know like it looks like there's a lot of light there, but even with that, man, like if you're standing right there, you can see Rottnest so easily. And that is a clear, beautiful day. Okay, so what I did, I then parked up with my car. I'm in the same spot. There's that shrub. Speed it up a little bit. There's Rottnest. You can see it so easily. Yeah, that's on my camera on my phone, my Samsung. I'm not using my P900. If I had my P900, you'll see it easily. And I think I do a little turn here so you can see I'm in the same spot. There we go. That's the house with the pool, with the dudes swimming. So yeah, you can see it plain as day.
Can I play devil's advocate?
Yep, you can.
I
Just
live.
just before you do, Paul,
or,
is that, hold on, sorry, Paul.
Keep in mind that
Hold
there
on.
is a what.
Is that
Sorry.
the end of your presentation, though? Is there any more to follow?
There is one more. Can I play the next one?
If you can just do that, and then if Paul can play devil's advocate.
Yep.
Sorry, Paul.
Yep. Okay, so this is probably about 1 kilometer up the road. Okay, so there's the porthole windows. That's my landmark. So I'm just like live filming on my phone. So I'm just like swiping. It looks a bit weird. But see, you can't see anything there. And I know devil's advocate, you're probably going to say the sun glare. I don't know if that's what you're going to say, but even with that sun glare, man, rottenness, you can see it.
Still got one more video though, right, from your camera?
Yep, exactly. Which is this one here. Okay, so there's the porthole windows. In exactly the same spot. You can already see it.
Voila.
Like, and that's on a phone. Like, if you're standing there, you can see it crystal clear. Like, and it doesn't matter what the weather is, even if it's a completely crappy day and it's raining, overcast, heaps of moisture in the air, whatever, rough seas, whatever, you're going to see rottenness no matter what. You can see it all the time. So I wanted to test this because last time I did a presentation like this, probably about, I don't even think it was 2 days. Like I came back on the show to do the presentation again, and then Google had updated the image and it was magically showing rottenness. So I just wanted to see if now, if I log in and take a look in the next couple of days, if Google Street View has magically changed. So now devil's advocate, off you go.
Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I live close to the Smoky Mountains, and off my back deck, I can see a mountain range that goes, I think I measured it on Google Earth. It could be up to 20, 25 miles away, the mountain range. And you can see like the tree line from about my house, the hills here, but then you can see the mountain range off in the distance. And it's almost like some days I can see 3 mountain ranges. Some days I can only see 1. And I don't even live over any kind of water whatsoever. But it would seem to me that the humidity in the air can obscure something in the distance. And now I'm not sure what Google Earth is using, and if they're updating it, how often they're driving that street, I don't know, so I can't answer that question. If they are updating it, well, that's a different thing. But certain days I can't see that mountain range every day, and I can go at it right now and look and see if it's there or not. And it all depends on the weather condition, whether the humidity is higher or whether the humidity is lower. And we do get very, very humid temperatures here in where I live, close to the Smoky Mountains. So I'm just playing devil's advocate. It could be, you're right, that they're changing Google Earth, or it could be that they're catching it when it's not visible. So that's all I'm saying.
Well, I can safely say here in Perth, man, like our weather's not to gloat, but it's some of the best in the world. We have beautiful weather, man, and like more often than not, the weather is clear. And even when there is bad weather, you can see that. That's from where I was on both of those. I'm roughly 17 kilometers away from Rottnest, and I'm probably at a pretty decent elevation, so it should be very easy to see, and it always is with eye. It's just I don't know what kind of camera they're using on the Google car, but it should still be able to pick that up. I see if like 17 kilometers away, the curve calculates kind of adds up why they take it away, because it doesn't work in with their globe. So that's the way I look at it anyway. They take it away until we kind of bring it up on the channel, and then it magically reappears. It happened with me and it happened with Tony. So I just wanted to see if it would happen again.
We shall see. Watch this space.
Pretty sure it happened with Tony, didn't it? With that island?
Yeah. They completely changed the beachside view of Isle of Man while we were using it. It was amazing.
Yeah, it's all algorithms, eh? That's why I wanted to do it on the live stream, because this is Hangouts, which is Google, so algorithms will be running through here and probably already doing the work and changing things.
I mean, the algorithms are that good that they can change an image. I mean, that's kind of interesting if they can do that. I'd like to see the software that's running that. I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate here. It'd be interesting to see the kind of software they're using to update an image. I think it would have to be somebody going in and actually changing it. To me,
I think you'd be surprised at the processing power and the algorithms running through Google, man. Like if those deep fake videos and stuff like that, it's insane. They even run
Nathan
barges
had a
out in the ocean
chemtrail
with like servers.
pop up on his video.
Sorry, what was that?
Like we were talking about chemtrails once on Nathan's video, and then the next time I went to the live stream, on the bottom it was one of those Encyclopedia Britannicas on chemtrails. I'm like, yo, they know, like, it's all just like, you can even say like it with an accent, like it knows the words, like the algorithm, whatever's listening to, and it runs through every video. So you hit certain words and you just get flagged, and that's, you put in flat earth debate, Nathan doesn't come up on the top searches at all.
Well, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about updating an image. Now, I mean, I would agree that there could be, you're picking up our conversation is, but to live or to go in and algorithmically, all of it done computer-wise to update an image specifically, that'd be a little bit, I mean, it's possible, but I'd like to see the software that's running that.
Well, some of the possibilities that went through our mind when it happened with the Isle of Man were, number one, there's like a Bluetooth connection that's going into, a computer somewhere that assesses what you've taken as an image versus what Google Earth presents. I mean, it was way out there with the kind of level of technology that we would assume might be applied when we're spitballing about the possible reasons. The other is that somebody's just watching the show who works and changes it. That's the other alternative, because of all the places, at the time, no one was looking at St. Bees. Google hasn't changed in that location. We highlight something very specific, and then the following day it changes. What else? What other conclusion can you draw? Just happened to have had timed set changes due to be made to a beach view in Google Earth from St. Bees. Maybe. Just seems very far-fetched. More likely,
it's either an algorithm or someone's watching the show and raises it back at home base and they just change it. Well, it's all outsourced anyway.
Now, I would say this, I'm back on the side of maybe saying that could be true, is just about every photo has a GPS stamp associated with it. Every time I take a photo, it actually knows where I took the photo. So there could be that too. They're just using the GPS location, because they're obviously, Google has it, we have it, it's all kind of being connected at some point. So
that was
there could be truth to that. So.
That was the lines that we considered. That, or someone watches the show.
And if it has been
which way you're
changed,
pointing,
it's really just it's not that hard.
Camera.
It's really just them going back to that same image and then just taking off what they've changed and restoring the original image.
Right.
It's not really that technical.
Go on, right the hand.
I was going to say, they have like they have your GPS, so they got your coordinates, they probably have your altitude, they'll have your point of view from the picture, so they'll know like every piece of data that they need to match up to their main database, and then makes changes to make everything fit again.
I can't believe that of the two scenarios that the panel has opted for option A. It's algorithmically based, and in the case of the Isle of Man, Anthony's camera has been scanned without him knowing by Google, who've then gone into the system, or it's automatically adjusted the position of a beach view based on an automatic algorithm. It just seems so far-fetched, though. But if you want to argue that, fine. I mean, we're all just speculating here after all.
I agree, it is far-fetched, and I don't know, maybe 10 years ago I would say that it's much more realistic that it's a human watching it. But now, as the progression of like what computers and how they're just, even with like just YouTube videos that say a couple words and they're, all of a sudden not in search history. So I'm putting more and more
I guess, distrust in how good the computers are getting.
We just need to look at when you get a copyright strike. If you've played something on your video, it just goes through the sound. Like it picks up the sound and then puts it back to the author, and then you get a copyright strike. And that's all just AI and just processing power. I mean, like Google has barges out in the middle of the ocean that literally have servers on them. They've got them under the ocean. Their processing power is insane, and their AI development is also pretty insane. So something like this is not far-fetched for Google.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But unfortunately, we're stuck with them. That's all we've got.
Still a little scary though that, like, you know, this stuff is happening this quick. Like it's like they're, you know, covering up, you know.
But if we were the enemy, wouldn't you want to watch us?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, keep your enemies closer.
Exactly.
Know your enemy.
Yeah.
So let's go back to a different topic. Somebody brought up.
Famous
Somebody
guy
said, "Oh God, here we go again." Okay, to a different subject.
At least it wasn't chocolate.
Here we go. I can't even say anything. All right, listen up. I'm going to talk about a subject that was breached earlier in the show. Somebody said military retards.
I didn't hear that.
I didn't hear that either.
I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that.
Nah, that must have been the voices in your mind.
It was
I
right
did
at
not
hand
hear that
said
mentioned
in
once.
reference to me saying that we should maybe
No.
say something after we're finished talking. He said we're not going to be saying over, like, and I quote, military retards.
Ah, there you go. Well remembered.
Who was that?
It was flat water.
They said it was me. Yeah, I stand behind that. If you go to war because your country tells you to, I don't think you're that bright.
Why I oughta. Over.
Copy that over. Copy that over.
God, 10-4.
I didn't even hear that. I completely missed that one.
I do remember it now. It's been reminded me.
Well, look, I know I'm passionate, but it's very, like, not on military, but when we're talking, like, I called out in school more than anyone. Like, it was you don't understand the restraint that it takes for me to not call out. So when people, I don't think there's a person alive that calls out like I do, but I have controlled and I fight myself on a daily basis to let people talk. And I've gone off, people hear me go off. But when we're in a quasi-professional setting, live, trying to be professional, can we all just do it? Like, there shouldn't need to be these set of rules. We can all just do it. Just restrain yourself, wait for the other person to finish. It's crazy. It's like they use it as a tactic. They hear you're making a point and then they want to jump in so you can't make it.
Well, sometimes it's hard to know when people are finished.
Yeah,
That was my only
well,
point I was trying to say.
no, because there's a difference between not knowing when a point is finished and then everyone starts talking, and when two people are engaged in a conversation. Because I'm having these same problems in my relationships in my life. And I don't mean, a relationship between me and a female. I mean people in general. The problem is that when you say something, they hear the question at the point that they want to hear it, when if they heard the whole thing, they would understand the entire question. You know what I'm saying? So they're only answering the first 5 words, which isn't the full context. You need to shut up and listen to all of that and then respond, because you don't know what you're talking about, because it's my point, not yours.
Can we say communication skills have been watered down?
I do agree that some
Absolutely.
people are jumping in on purpose just to try and shut people up, yeah. But sometimes, from what I did hear, was like someone would pause after asking like something that sounded like a question, so then someone would try to respond even though the person wasn't finished asking. That's all I was trying to counteract.
Yeah, that happens. It's a certain amount of conversational process when it's this setting is going to be disturbing. There's going to be people stepping on people. That just happens. But by the same token, that's not the bit that most of us would take issue with. It's when there's an actual point being made, and then it's interrupted, because it's easier to interrupt than address the point. If you know where the point's going and you just step all over it, it's like, well, then I won't have to address it. So it is just a tactic. Yeah, the other bits aside, most people would forgive somebody if there's a rhetorical question asked and then it gets answered part of the statement that has an overriding question at the end. That's forgivable. But most of the time that's not what's happening. There's a point that's genuinely being made, and it's better to rumpus the point than let it be put out there in the open.
It's like, for example, when you say, can I have gas pressure without, when you ask, how can you have gas pressure without a container? They hear that portion and then they continue to basically say what they already just said. When the question is, how can you have gas pressure without a container if, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? They don't wait for the
you can have gas pressure. You can have gas pressure without a container. I'd quite like to hear the et cetera, et cetera.
Say again?
I would argue that you can have gas pressure without like a solid container to contain the gas. So I'd quite like to hear the et cetera, part you mentioned.
Well, can you show it to me terrestrially right here without a description of what the sky
you could
does?
use a field. You could use some field to contain it. So if you had some gas, you could quite easily use an electric field to create gas pressure. It would be a gradient, of course, but that's what we observe in our atmosphere. And by the globe model,
what's the gas
gravitational
in?
field.
What is the gas contained in?
The field. Like you can contain it with an
What's the
electric
field? What's the field contained in the thing you're talking about?
And the thing I'm talking about, you could just have a field in open air.
No, not just you can. In this particular one, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the ionized gas inside of a vacuum chamber that's being magnetized. So
No,
what?
That's not what I'm talking about.
What are you
Okay,
talking
so then
about?
show us.
Hold on. What are you talking about then? Tell us.
I'm saying if you create an electric field, like a centered electric field in open air, and ionize some gas nearby, it will be attracted to that electrode. You don't need any
Our
sort of
atmosphere
container.
is not ionized though, but is our atmosphere?
I didn't say our atmosphere was ionized. I said
Okay, so then how can our atmosphere have pressure if one of the requirements is to be ionized?
No,
and
I
our
didn't.
atmosphere.
Okay, I didn't say the atmosphere had to be ionized for us to have pressure. I was asked for an example of pressure without a container, and I said you could use an electric field to show pressure in an ionized gas. However, the only reason that gas has to be ionized in this example is so that it can interact with that field. By the globe model, as I did say, our atmosphere is held on, quote unquote, with gravity, which doesn't require an ionized gas. It's the mass that lets it interact with that field.
Demonstrate that then.
You can't demonstrate that on Earth because gravity is such a weak force.
Hold on. Hold on. What was your guy? The guy that was just talking to 10th Man? What's your name? Sorry, I just can't see you. My screens are all messed up.
No, Azure.
Azure. Can we just have Azure and 10th Man, please? Thank you.
What?
I didn't hear a 10th man. I think you mean right the hand.
My bad. Right the hand. That's what I meant.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're at, you say that gravity can do what the magnetic field can do, so can you demonstrate that? And then you said, no, you can't.
No, I said you can't demonstrate like pressure without a container using a gravitational field because
I know, that's the problem.
No, I was about to say why, if you let me finish. Because we're currently in a gravitational field, as I would argue. So if you would have to create a more powerful gravitational field than the one of Earth, which by our current technology we can't do.
Hold on.
Okay, so the only way that I can prove that gravity can be the force that makes air pressure without a solid container is to assume that the Earth is the example.
No.
Okay, so
I was saying you can
example.
prove that a field in general can hold pressure. The magnetic field can do it, the electric field can do it. It's really easy to demonstrate that on Earth because Earth doesn't have very powerful magnetic or electric fields. So with our technology,
the problem is that
with our
that's not what's
technology, if you let me finish.
Hold on, right the hand.
But you're moving.
I'm not moving the goalpost. I'm saying, you're asking, how can we prove that gravity could contain some atmosphere? Yeah?
Yeah, and you said you
can't directly prove that gravity...
No, you can't.
No, right. We can go back and forward and just
so
say,
that's-
you can't.
But you can't.
I'm saying...
Because you can't.
I'm saying...
And you have a why. I understand the why. You say because we're in the gravitational field. But that would be like me saying, my brain controls everything that you see. I make all of the objects fall. I make everything you see. But you can't test that because you're in my brain.
No, that's completely different.
It's the exact same thing.
No, it's not.
You can't test it because you're inside of it. You can't.
If you let me finish and stop just screaming about what you can and can't test because of some made-up scenario, I said you can't directly prove and create a model using gravity on Earth. And you said you understand the why behind that because Earth's gravitational field is too powerful. However, we can do it in separate parts. We could say prove that a field can hold pressure in general. Then we have to prove that the Earth, 1, has a gravitational field, and 2, that this field is strong enough. Doing those two things separately and also proving that a field can hold pressure would allow us to conclude that the gravitational field of Earth can't hold pressure. Would you disagree?
I do disagree. I disagree because...
Hold on, John. Hold on. Go ahead, right the hand.
Okay, so first you just go, gravity can do it. Okay? You didn't prove gravity. Yeah, you did. You just said if electromagnetism can do it, and that's a force, then gravity, which isn't a force, however, can do it. So what would you say to that? If gravity has been described as George Muser as not a force, so how is it holding the air in?
Right. I'm not saying the force caused by electromagnetism. I'm saying if you create an electric field.
Okay, but you need a force, right, to hold the air in? Would you agree to that?
Well, the air has to feel some force, yes.
Okay,
But
so
you're
gravity
saying-
is not the force then, because gravity is not a force. So what force holds the air to Earth?
The force that is right. You're gonna probably not like this, but it's the fictitious force essentially that we feel due to the gravitational field.
So
Yeah, we're not gonna like it.
The fantasy is holding.
Can a fictitious force do what a real force does?
No, I'm not saying fictitious force in the English definition as in it doesn't exist or it is fictional. I'm saying fictitious force in the physical sense, as in it's a force, as an apparent force felt because of some difference in reference frame.
Does air have matter?
Apparent is kind of the same thing, though. So you're...
Is air physical? Does air have a physicality to it?
You're asking if air is matter? Yes.
Okay, so wouldn't that be a physical requirement for the force, since air?
Again, you're right. Again, I'm not using fictitious to mean it's not a real force. It is a real force that
so
the air does
gravity
feel.
is a force.
No.
So you're saying gravity is a force?
No, I'm not saying gravity is a force. Again, I'm saying gravity causes that fictitious force.
Okay, what fictitious force?
What? It causes the fictitious force. Like, is it?
Wait, it's causing a
Is
real
it the
force?
fictitious force, or does it cause a force, or does it cause a fictitious force? Make up your mind.
Again, I'm not using fictitious to mean fake or not real. I'm using.
What do you mean it? How are you using it then?
I'm using it. And
Are you making up your own language?
Look, can we all let Right the Hand drag this guy by his short hairs, please?
If you like. So, do you want me to answer the question, or do you want to clarify what you mean by your question first?
Well, no, I want you to clarify about what you meant when you said fictitious. Like, what's the difference between an actual force, such as pressure being applied, or a fictitious force of gravity? Can you,
Right. Well, another example of a fictitious force then would be the force that you think you feel when you're on a roundabout being spun round really quickly.
Okay, hold on. I gotta stop you there, because I'm actually being spun around with a real force. That's why I feel something.
No. Right. So if you're...
am I not spinning around on a roundabout?
If you're spinning around on a roundabout and not accelerating or decelerating, there is no force on that roundabout.
So how am I moving? How am I moving around and around if there's no force?
Because you don't require a force to stay moving, you require a force to accelerate.
So the air is not trying to stop me? The bearings on the merry-go-round don't create...
Right, you misunderstand. I mean, there's no net force. So if you set up a roundabout in such a way that it was constantly driven, such that the driving
how would
force...
you get the...
again,
hold on. How would you get the bodies up into motion? How would you get them...
Right.
Would you need a force?
Can you let me provide...
speed the...
Can you please let me provide a full answer before jumping in at random points when you feel you've got something?
But you're jumping around. You're saying that you're moving objects, which creates a force. So what force got those objects to start?
Right. Say you're on a roundabout and you're initially not moving, right? Yes, you have to apply a force to accelerate that roundabout up to some speed.
Okay, what force?
Let's say it's someone pushing it, or you've got some drive mechanism.
What force is that? Well, name the force that's being...
Would you want me to call it Bob?
No, I want you to call it what it is.
It's a driving force. That's all it is.
No, so driving force is an actual force? What causes the...
Again, I just said you could have someone push that roundabout, or...
Okay, so somebody is pushing, so somebody is applying pressure to you and moving you.
No, someone can apply... Right, do you want me to use like all the actual sciencey words? Someone would apply a torque to that roundabout, and because the roundabout is solid, it's not going to just move out of the way. They're going to apply a torque to the roundabout, and it's going to accelerate that roundabout, like, rotationally. So you're going to end up with some angular velocity there. Agreed?
Do you have to continue applying pressure to keep the merry-go-round going at it?
If there was no friction, then no.
I didn't, but there is.
Right.
So
let me finish. Let me finish.
Say yes first.
Let me finish before
let's just
jump in.
Let's just let him get to the end of his full example and then right at the hand address it. Go ahead.
Right, so do you want me to go all the way back to the part where I said, well, another good example of a fictitious force?
We've got all that. You said.
Well, I'd really like you to tell me how gravity,
I just want to get us
force,
back on.
can make something.
We're in equivalence.
Well, you've asked what a fictitious force is.
Guys, I'm trying to get you both back on track. We're into an equivalence of a fictitious force that you're trying to describe. So we've got a roundabout that's being rotated. That's where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, off of gas pressure for some unknown reason.
I know, but let him get to the end of his example.
Well, that was my point. The car is powered by gas pressure.
We'll get there. He wants to make an equivalence. Let's see how well it goes.
Right. The for some reason is specifically because you've asked, what is a fictitious force? What do you mean by fictitious in this context? So I've moved to a more familiar context that's easy to wrap your mind around so that I can use the word fictitious in that context and you can derive its meaning from that. That's the reason I've went on to
the problem is not my understanding. Okay,
hold on.
Don't say I can't
know
wrap
he's
my
given.
mind around
Hold on. I know he's given a preamble, but he still hasn't given his example in full. I just want him to give that. I know he's taken the opportunity to give a bit of a preamble. Fine, but let him just get to the end of the example.
Right. So if you imagine yourself on a roundabout, or if you actually go and get on a roundabout, and using some mechanism, you drive it at a constant speed. You could have somebody push it really accurately, you could have a motor attached to it that runs at a constant speed, but whatever mechanism you use, this roundabout runs at a constant angular speed. Now, on that roundabout, if you're standing on it, you'll feel like you're being pushed off, right? It's not real force, nothing's actually pushing you. The force is caused, or it's an apparent force in that rotational frame, to put it in the correct scientific words, because you're accelerating and because you're constantly accelerating in a circle. And acceleration used there to mean the rate of change of velocity, and your velocity includes direction because it's a vector.
I heard your example.
So that,
but my problem with your example is you've said there's nothing pushing you after clarifying quite clearly that there's something pushing you. So I'm a bit confused in your example.
Right, what would you say is pushing me then? If I'm standing on a roundabout and I obviously feel like I'm being pulled off if it's running at some
one of those
constant
times
speed.
that you ask a question and then answer it.
Sorry?
If what's pushing you, then you proceeded to answer your own question.
No, I'm saying, what would you say was pushing me if I'm on a roundabout and feel like I'm being pulled off of it?
Oh. I would say it's the thing that you just detailed in great detail, the things that could be exampled as pushing you at a constant velocity, those things. So when you say there's no force...
Right, they're not pushing
I hadn't quite
pushing
finished.
the roundabout.
I know it's irritating when we explain double speak back to you. You've said quite clearly There's a force. You even said we could call it Bob. Remember? Yeah. Now you're saying
There's no net force.
You're doing it again, my friend. I've let you give your example, and now I'm trying to clarify the double-speak contradiction in your example, and you won't let me. I don't know why. Maybe it's a tactic, like you pointed out earlier. Is it?
Well, on you go. Finish your...
You don't need to give me permission. You just need to shut up. Right. So you've gone to great lengths to explain a force. Bob, pushing the roundabout. That would be a actual force. Now you're saying after describing it in great detail, there is no force. But we can assume a fictitious force is pushing us off when there's an actual force at play. Bob, the force!
Right, so that your issue is there's a force on the roundabout, therefore that force must be pushing you off of the roundabout. The force that's driving the roundabout is only there to keep it at a constant speed because in real life we have things like friction. There's no net force on that roundabout because it's not accelerating. So there's no net force left over to push you anywhere.
So Bob is magic. Sorry. Does Bob expend any energy when he pushes it? No net force. He's pushing it. He's got to have had his breakfast, my friend. He's expelling energy, my friend. What the hell are you talking about? No net force? You're saying he magically... I haven't finished. I haven't finished. I'm clarifying my question like you did. Yeah?
Okay.
So no net force? Does Bob survive on air and nothing else? Does he not produce energy and sweat when he pushes? What are you talking about?
Right, for a start, I'd appreciate it if you didn't yell. We can have a very civil conversation without raising voices and telling people to shut up.
Oh, okay.
Now...
Okay, no worries. Pretty pleased with sugar. Can you explain how somebody putting quite a lot of energy into putting a roundabout is no net force?
Again, there's no need to be sarcastic
Just
either.
don't tell me what there's no fucking need for, you
no...
stupid man. Tell me why you've just explained that there's no force when you've gone into great detail explaining that there's a force being applied.
Yes, so there is a force being applied.
So when you say there isn't, so when you say there's no net force, you just double speaking, contradicting yourself then, because you've just explained again that there is a force.
There is a force.
Yeah, I know! That's the contradiction, you stupid fundy!
I'm not contradicting.
You're going to tell me not to shout at you, you stupid dick? Listen up, dick brain. You're clearly retarded. You seem to go into great efforts to explain how there's a force, only 2 moments later explain that there isn't one. Are you retarded?
No, that's not what I've done.
Sorry, anybody else feel that that's not what he's done? Anybody else feel this asshole's not double speaking the hell out of us?
He's got contradictolitis.
Maybe you would like to criticise my method in pointing out your retarded nature and your double speak and your contradiction. Maybe you'd like to go on that little straw man and criticise the format in which I've pointed out how stupid this example is?
It sounds pretty much exactly like the Coriolis confusion. It is a force and it's not a force.
There's no net force because you have 2 forces acting upon each other to create a zero. That's why there's no net force, fuck. So you do have 2 forces, not 0 forces and a fake one. You have 2 real ones. Come on, man.
No. If you let me finish explaining, I will explain it. So I'm saying there's no net force on the roundabout because the friction balances the driving force we're applying. If there was a net force, the roundabout would accelerate because F equals ma. Works in rotational cases as well.
Oh, F equals ma, huh? Define the M.
What? The mass?
Yeah.
All I'm saying by that, all I meant by F equals ma was Newton's law.
Clearly didn't hear the question.
That,
did you not hear the question?
Sorry?
Did you not hear the question?
Define what M means.
Yes.
I said it's mass.
No, define mass.
Define mass.
You seem to say things with an upward inflection when you're surprised to be questioned about it. Yes! Define mass!
Well, I actually only thought he meant say what M means in the respect of that equation. Hence, I just said mass.
No worries. I'll say it again. I'll say it again even slower. Even though we appreciate that. We know. Yeah. You're saying the word mass, demonstrated that you thought we just meant say mass for M. We all know M is mass.
So
we want you to.
want me to
We want you
define
to.
mass?
We want you to.
How hard it is to move
I'll try again
objects?
without interruption. See how long he lasts. I'll try and explain what's been asked of you twice for a third time. Define mass.
Define mass. Right. So mass is just how we measure how much matter an object has. It can also be thought of as inertia, or how hard it is to accelerate an object.
That's two different definitions, and they're both wrong.
Okay, well, how do you define that?
The amount of substance in something is defined as a mole.
To James Richard for the super chat.
Mass is a redundant word. It's only used with gravity. It's a redundant word.
Did he understand the explanation to him that it was the wrong definition?
No, I would argue that I did give the right definition, 2 of them, actually.
Oh, you gave 2 definitions for one word.
Yeah, because words don't always have one meaning. If you look up a word...
dear. That's a bit of a problem. You think that words don't have specific definitions. Oh, right. Well, that's why we asked you to define it, and you're saying there's 2. Do you know what an equivocation fallacy is?
Mass is just how hard it is to make an object.
That's not the question.
No, that's not the question.
Do you know what an equivocation fallacy is?
No, I actually don't.
Look it up right now.
I mean, it'd be easier if you just gave me your definition rather than me having to go and Google it.
Yeah, it's precisely what you're doing. It's what you're. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you. It's what you're doing by giving 2 definitions. That's what it is. It's an equivocation fallacy. That's what this is. Yeah, I'm trying to tell you. You asked me to tell you rather than Google search it. I'm halfway through a sentence, and of course, this fuckwit's talking.
All right, continue.
You don't need to give me permission. I said this as well. You need to shut your mouth when people talk. Not give me permission to talk. Not say over. Just shut up when other people are talking. An equivocation fallacy is what you have done by giving us 2 definitions for one word.
Right, so if you want me to stick with one definition, I'll say mass is how hard it is to accelerate an object, a measure of.
Sorry, man. He broke up. I didn't hear him if he's sticking with one.
Mass is just a measure of how hard it is to accelerate an object. If you're talking about a mass as in the attribute of that object.
Yes, that's inertia.
Right, well, do you want me to call it inertia then? I mean, we're on a real big tangent here because I was trying to just explain what fictitious meant.
You're clearly confused. You said F equals MA, and we've asked you to define F. Now you're telling us that you want to use inertia. I don't really understand. Is that in F equals MA? Or should we stick to defining what M is?
No, well, actually, if you're talking about rotational acceleration, then we do use rotational inertia rather than mass.
That's lovely. Is that in F equals MA? Is it your example was F equals MA?
No, I only quoted F equals MA again, as I did describe, because I was simply iterating the fact that we require some force to cause an acceleration. Some net force, I should say. So by defining the roundabout as to be not accelerating, it's turning with a constant angular speed. Then there is by definition no net force.
Okay, let's go back to the topic. Define M. Define mass.
Just how much matters in an object. I
the
don't know why you're
definition.
so set on me defining what mass is.
The second definition that you've used, that's an equivocation fallacy, and both of your definitions are wrong. I already told you that.
It's a mole.
So what's your definition of mass then? If you want
I
me to use
just
that.
make the claim.
Your claim.
It's your claim. Do you want me to explain your claim?
All I said was F equals ma, and the attempt to invoke Newton's law in your mind that any acceleration requires some driving force, some driving net force. F equals ma isn't really applicable to the roundabout example.
You
I only
invoked
brought it
F
up.
equals ma. As we all know, every formula, every variable in each formula must be rigorously defined. We asked you to define m, which is mass. You first equivocated by using two different definitions for the same term, and both of your definitions were wrong to begin with.
And with that, I'll say, if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. However, if you're watching this on the Nathan Oakley 1980 live stream, unfortunately, this is where we bid you farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you tuned in, smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. If you want to keep up to date with the community debate, be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum. A massive thank you to all of today's debating panel. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video. Stay tuned if you're watching on the premiering stream.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!